Some brands offer you low finance, or cashback, or servicing.
Renault don't do ors. We do ands. The Renault Kadjar with 1.91% APR and €1,000 cashback and 3 years servicing, saving you thousands. Renault, the brand with the ands. Visit your local Renault dealer. Finance is made under a hire purchase agreement. Terms and conditions apply. Deposit required subject to lending criteria. See Renault.ie.
Hi, Nancy. Hello, Nancy's tribe. Beautiful ladies. My name is Susanna. Nancy, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being this amazing woman, manifesting angel that God has made you to be for every single woman in your tribe. You have fed us. Okay, you have inspired us, you have taught us, you have pruned us, and you consistently, every day and every week, put yourself out there and share what you have been given to share. Like you said in one of your podcasts, your words are not your words. Those are words that God has given you. And I do believe He has such a blessing over your life. And I want to say thank you for coming into my life.
That was Susanna Cordova of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Thank you, Susanna, for those beautiful words. And it's the perfect segue for this week's episode of the Empowerment Podcast, where I will be talking about divine connections and how every single person that is sent into our lives is designed to teach us something. So sit tight, and we'll be right back with this week's episode of the Empowerment Hour Podcast. You are tuned in to the Empowerment Hour Podcast, your digital global classroom where individuals across all ages, backgrounds, and career levels tune in for guidance and motivation to live life on their own terms. It's where inspiring thought leaders, modern-day influencers, and social game changers come to discuss their own personal journeys and have real conversations about the journey to success. I am your host, Nancy Ruffin, and every week I bring you raw and unfiltered conversations about the obstacles we all encounter, the times we felt like giving up, and the things that keep us forging forward. It's where passion and purpose intersect. So if you're ready to start living on purpose, then you're in the right place. Let's get started. We are back with another episode of the Empowerment Hour Podcast. You know who it is. It's your girl, Nancy Ruffin. And this week, we entered the month of December. It is officially countdown to Christmas time. And I will tell you that I'm over the moon excited. Christmas is my absolute favorite holiday of the year. The elf on the shelf has reappeared in my household. And for those of you who are parents to young kids, you know how stressful moving this damn elf can be. I love it, and I really enjoy getting creative, with the little things that the elf gets herself into. But I will tell you that there are times when I forget to move the damn thing. And then the minute that I remember, I have to somehow try to psych my kids out of not going to the last spot that she was in so that I can have an opportunity to move her. It causes me unnecessary anxiety, to say the least. But in any case, I just wanted to welcome you all back to the show. If you are new here, welcome. Thank you for choosing to listen to the Empowerment Hour podcast. There are so many choices of so many great podcasts out there. The fact that you would lend me your ears for the 30 to 45 minutes that we're together means the world to me, and I do not take it for granted. But now that you're here, let me remind you, if you haven't already done so, make sure that you subscribe or you follow the podcast on whatever medium you're listening to us right now. So if you're on Apple Podcasts, make sure to hit the follow button. Do the same if you're listening on iHeartRadio or Spotify or Stitcher or Google Play, any of those platforms. If you're listening that way, make sure to hit the follow button. If you're listening through the website, make sure that you're following us there as well. And one of the great things about subscribing and following is that as soon as a new episode drops, you automatically get the notification. You know that there's something new there, and you don't have to wait or search for the latest episode. Additionally, if you can just go one step further after listening to this week's podcast, if you love it, if you enjoy it, if it absolutely gives you life, if it inspires you, empowers you, makes you laugh, causes you to have your own aha moment, whatever it is that you feel after listening to the podcast, please let me know. Go on to give us a rating, leave us a review, let us know what you absolutely love. Let us know what maybe there's something that you don't like, right? Let me know that as well, because the purpose of this podcast is really to give you all what it is that you desire, what you need to feed your soul, your spirit, your mind. I'm here for you guys. So if there's something that I'm not doing or that I'm not doing so well, let me know. That way I know how to improve, how to get better, how to provide you all with whatever it is that you're tuning in to listen. At the end of the day, the reason I do this podcast is for you all. And so my goal is to always, always listen to my listeners. Okay, so now that we've gotten some of that housekeeping out of the way, I think I'm just going to share a few announcements as we enter the month of December. There's a number of things that are happening with me, with the Fierce Woman organization, and just kind of want to let you guys in case you're looking for stuff to do this month. So for those of you who consistently follow me, and if you've been listening to the podcast for the past few weeks, then next Sunday, December 9th, we are hosting our annual end of year celebration. And the purpose of the event is really to party. We work so hard throughout the year that it's good to kind of come together in a festive environment and just have some fun. And so that is the goal for next week. In addition to that, though, what I always like to do is I invite back all of the women that attended my vision board workshops earlier this year, and I give them an opportunity to pretty much share all of their successes and accomplishments that they've made throughout the year. Because who doesn't like to be acknowledged? We put in so much work. We are focused on our personal growth, on our development, on accomplishing those goals, that at the end of the year, we want, a pat on the back that pretty much says job well done. And so this is their opportunity to be recognized for all of their hard work, and also gives them an opportunity to not just share the successes, but to really share how they were able to stay on track, throughout the year, what worked best for them in helping them to accomplish their goals, and also share any struggles or roadblocks that they encountered and how they were able to overcome those roadblocks so that they can accomplish their goal and ultimately be successful. So it's, some parts sharing, other parts inspirational, but overall it's just really us getting together to uplift one another, to inspire each other, and to really connect in a different way, in a personal way, because I know many of us are connected via social media. A lot of you guys tune into the podcast every week. I may not know you personally. I may not have ever met you in person. And so this event, it's free and it gives the opportunity for that meeting to happen. So if you're not doing anything on Sunday, head on over to the south of France, 1800 Westchester Avenue in the Bronx at 2 p.m. December 9th. Meet me, meet all of the amazing women that are connected to me and that are part of the Fierce Woman tribe, and come and feel inspired, get inspired, meet some new friends, and leave with real genuine connections. Because I think one of the things that I'm best known for, aside from my writing, aside from this podcast, is my ability to really attract amazing women. And the women that find me, they're just dope. man, like there's no other word for me to use to describe them. They're all authentic, very genuine, and they're really about being empowering and really uplifting, women and each other. And while there are many organizations, female empowerment organizations that do this work, I know that all of the feedback that I've received from the women that have connected with me, have connected with the Fierce Woman, or ever attended our events, is the friendships that they make as a result of attending. They really form and forge some incredible bonds with me, with each other, and we really are a true sisterhood that grows to love one another. And a prime example of that is this past weekend, I was able to support a fundraiser that was sponsored and put together by my friend Marjorie Gueche. If you guys are not following her on social media, don't know what the heck you're waiting for, you need to go and follow her ASAP, because she is as authentic as they come. I mean, there is not one fake bone in this woman's body. She keeps it real. She gives us an incredible view, right, of her life. The good, the bad, the ugly, just all of it. She really just opens up her life to anyone who is willing to invest the time in really connecting with her. And I met Marjorie last year, but I'll go into that story a little bit later. Back to the purpose of what I was saying. She sponsored this event to support her organization to have an interest in give back. And it was a sip and paint. So there was a room, probably about 30, 40 attendees who kind of came together to drink wine and paint. Now, I will tell you, I am creative. I am an artist, but a painter I am not. And it was so much fun to be out of my element and to try something new. And I will tell you, I was stressed the F out because the painting was giving me anxiety. Like, I really wanted to paint a great picture, but something was happening between the time that I was listening to the instructor, the message went through my head, and then kind of connected with my hands and the canvas, because it was not translating. That poor reindeer was a hot mess. But it was so much fun to just be surrounded with these amazing women, sipping wine. We were laughing. They were making fun of me. I was making fun of myself. But all in all, it was great. And what I really wanted to share about this is that the women I was with are women that I met on Instagram. And we met because we are all part of this book club. But in the forming of that book club, in the sharing of our ideas or our thoughts on the books that we were reading, we somehow formed a friendship. And so what started out as a book club connection has really turned into us really sharing our lives, sharing our mommy stories, sharing our business stories, just kind of pretty much going into this group chat and sharing everything that's happening to us throughout the day. And it's just phenomenal when you allow yourself to really connect with someone beyond clicking that follow button, right? Because we all do it. We all click follow in the hopes that someone follows us back because we want to get, those follower numbers up. Me, I could care less about follower count because I have a bunch of people who follow me who never engage, right? And for me, I don't need those people to follow me. I don't need to be connected with people who all they want to do is see what I'm doing and stalk, basically. I really want to form connections with the people who are investing in watching what I'm posting, watching my Instagram stories, whatever it is. I share so much of myself that I absolutely want to connect with other people in that way. And so at the Sip and Paint, that was exactly what we were doing. We were able to kind of step out of the quote unquote Instagram, group chat world and really be together and enjoy each other's company and just laugh and create real tangible memories. And to kind of go back to what I was saying about how I met Marjorie, she too was an Instagram connection, but her and I connected only because we had been brought together to collaborate on an event. And now, while I have my own personal feelings on the event, and while, in my opinion, it really taught me a lot about who I am as a person and who I needed to grow into, because that's another story in and of itself. That collaboration really taught me a lot about who I was at that time. And as evolved as I thought that I was, I still had an incredible amount of growing and healing to do. But the event brought Marjorie and I together. We immediately connected because our morals and our values are very similar. And so we quickly formed a bond and a friendship and we just got incredibly close really, really fast. And since then, we have a real life friendship. She's someone who I absolutely love and adore, and I want to see her win at all costs. I want to see her succeed, and however way I can help and support her, I absolutely will. But back to what I learned from the event and from that experience, what I found is that when we struggle with certain people or when we don't mesh well with others' personalities, that in itself is a very clear indicator on the parts of ourselves that we need to work on and we need to heal. Now, bear with me. I know you're probably thinking, like, what the heck is Nancy talking about? But yeah, what the attributes and the characteristics that we see in other people or we dislike in other people are really a reflection of ourselves and of who we are. And it took me a year to realize that, because back then all I kept saying was like, no, I'm not like that. I'm not like that. I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't do that. But in reality, deep down inside, there were still parts of me that were, overbearing, disrespectful, not considerate of other people's thoughts or feelings. There were just all of these underlying things that I had lost sight of because I'm a continuous work in progress, right? And I've been on a spiritual journey for many years. But what I realized is that I was not fully healed. And working on that event with all of the different personalities really showed me the parts of my own personality that needed to be worked on. And so I worked on them, but not realizing that it was happening. And I really attribute this growth that I've had this past year to the fact that I've gotten closer to God, that I've become a member of a church, and that I've allowed myself to really step outside of my ego and really align myself with God and step into the plan for my life that He has. When we're driven by ego, man, we get ourselves into a lot of shit, for lack of a better word. We allow that ego to dictate our thoughts, our words, our actions, the pettiness that we allow ourselves to get involved in. All of that is driven by our egos. Why? Because our ego is telling us that person can't be better than us. That person doesn't know what they're talking about. I'm better. I know more. I'm smarter. I've been doing this longer. I have more experience. You see, ego is all about me, I. The minute we let go of that ego, we start to realize that nothing that we do, nothing that happens to us, none of the blessings that we have are of our own control. Everything that we have is God. And so when I started to let go of ego and get closer to God, I realized that I didn't have to be at odds with anyone, and so I know that I'm healed because a situation recently presented itself and I had absolutely no desire to respond to it, to let them know my thoughts. I mean, my thoughts were, I don't care. Like, I really didn't care. And I told my sister this. I was like, wow, like I have really grown, because had this been last year, I would have went off. I would have let someone have a piece of my mind. I would have told them why they were wrong, why they shouldn't be doing what they're doing. But I had no desire whatsoever to do that. One, because it doesn't serve me, right? Responding to someone else's actions that have nothing to do with who I am, with my business, with helping me grow, with helping me become a better person. If it doesn't do any of those things for me, I am not wasting my time or my energy on it. And so for those of you who find yourselves in a position where you're struggling with someone, maybe you're not getting along with somebody, maybe you're not seeing eye to eye, I challenge you to take a step back for one moment and look internally and ask yourself really honestly, what is it about this person that really is bothering me? And then when you identify what that thing is, think about yourself, think about your life, think about how that applies to you, and maybe what do you need to do within yourself to work through those feelings. Because I will tell you, how we feel about another person is a direct reflection of something that's happening within us. And one of the books that I always recommend for people who struggle with other people and relationships and what other people think of them is The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. It's a phenomenal book. It's a short book. It's an easy read, but it is absolutely one of the best books in understanding human nature and people, really, and even understanding yourself. So if you have not read it, I encourage you to go and buy that book. Wow, so I've taken a lot of time kind of catching up. But I didn't really have a direction for this week's podcast. It's one thing that I really wanted to talk about was divine connections, because it's what I've been talking about for the past 20 minutes on the podcast, and how we make those connections, how we attract certain people into our lives, and how every single person that is sent into our lives is designed to teach us something, whether that is something about ourselves, or whether it's something about the world at large, or whether it's something that we didn't know before. The relationships that we make, the people that we attract, we're attracting into our lives because they mirror or reflect who we are at that particular phase and season of our lives. And I will tell you that for me, my greatest teachers have always been the people who I've been at odds with, the people that I've had conflict with, because it really has been me almost staring at myself. And they forced me to look at those ugly, nasty parts of myself. And we all have them, because no one is perfect, okay? And no matter how perfect your girlfriend, boyfriend, sister, parents, whoever tells you that you are not perfect. We're not perfect because God made us to be flawed individuals. He made us to be flawed because He wants us, He needs for us to seek Him and His perfection, right? If we weren't flawed, what use would we have for God? right? We would be so self-contained in our own world and in ourselves that we would never seek him. But it's because we're flawed individuals. It's because we're not perfect. It's because we find ourselves often in challenging situations. We find ourselves struggling. We doubt ourselves. Whatever it is that we go through, because we're flawed humans, leads us closer to God. And so no one is perfect. However, when we become so self-consumed in ourselves and in our egos, it becomes difficult to not only see our flaws, but to even accept and acknowledge them. And I talk often about the importance of self-awareness and really being able to take an honest look at yourself and say, what do I need to fix about myself? Where am I not being my best self? Where am I not fulfilling my potential? Where am I not tapping into that greatness that God gave only to me, right? When we're so wrapped up in our ego, we don't ask ourselves those questions. We're not even trying to get better because we think that we are as good as we're ever going to be in that moment, right? But I will tell you something. For those people who are that self-centered and so into themselves, God eventually will come knocking at your door, right? Because something will happen to rock your world, knock you off that pedestal, and you will be so low that you have no other choice but to put those hands together while you're on the floor and pray to God and tell him to help you. That's often how it happens. So I know for me, my biggest lessons, my greatest teachers have been those individuals that I've struggled the most with. Even in my relationships, even in my friendships, and then there comes a time when these people enter our lives, right, to teach us whatever they're designed to teach us. And sometimes they're not meant to be in our lives for long. And this happens particularly, I think, with romantic relationships and friendships. When we talk about romantic relationships, the majority of people, hardly ever get married to the first person they're in a serious relationship with, right? That relationship is designed to teach that person something about themselves, something about love, something about commitment, right? And then we take the lessons that we learned from that past relationship and then we apply it to future relationships, right? And so maybe we might have 2 or 3 or 4 relationships before we meet that person that God made specifically for us. And the goal is, and the hope is that by the time we get to that person, right, that we have worked a little bit on ourselves, that we can come into that relationship being whole, being healed, being able to contribute something healthy and positive into the relationship so that it's not or doesn't become toxic. The same thing goes for friendships. I know many of us, we put our friends, we hold them to high regard. And as I mentioned a little while ago, everyone is sent into our lives for a specific reason, for the phase or for the season of our lives that we're currently in. And as we continue to grow and evolve and become better versions of ourselves, as we get clearer on our purpose and what we want to contribute to the world and who we want to be, sometimes we outgrow certain friendships and certain relationships because we're outgrowing that season in our life. And if you're outgrowing the season, you're clearly going to outgrow the people that were sent to you for that season. And I know many of us struggle with the letting go, and I know that oftentimes it is hurtful. But if you start to shift your thinking, if you start to really look at situations and people for the purpose they were meant to serve, then it's easier to let go. Sometimes you have to let go in order to move forward and in order to meet the next person that's going to help you in the next phase and in the next season in your life, right? Because if we hold on to old friendships, old relationships that were designed to teach us certain lessons, and we have already grown past that, then there's nothing more to be gained from that. And that's when you will stifle yourself. That is when you will no longer continue to grow or continue to expand into the person that God made you to be. Because a lot of times those people can't understand your journey. They can't understand what you're destined for. They can't understand where you are meant to go. And they will try to keep you back. They'll try to hold you back, man. Okay? Because they don't want to be left back. They don't want to be left alone. They don't want to be reminded of where they are because they haven't evolved or they haven't learned their lessons. And you can't allow yourself to be held back by other people. You're doing yourself a disservice. You're doing God a disservice, and you are not living up to the potential that lies inside of you. And so as we enter this new season of our lives, this new year, I encourage you to just reevaluate everything that's happening in your lives. A lot of us are prepping, to attend vision board workshops come in January. We might do our own vision boards, at home, alone with our family. But this is an absolute great time to do some reflecting, do some reevaluating, readjusting if necessary, and letting go of what no longer serves you, right? It's almost like you lose weight, right? And you're, 3 or 4 sizes thinner or slimmer than you were before. Those old clothes no longer fit you, right? There's no need for them. You're not going to keep them hanging in your closet, taking up space, right? You're either going to throw them away or you're going to donate them. But the point is you're going to let them go. You're not going to hold on to them when they no longer serve a purpose for you, right? So the same thing holds true, for certain areas of our lives and the people that are in them. We were born alone. We're going to die alone. What happens in between is really destined to get us closer to God, right? So there's no reason for you to be holding on to relationships that don't serve you, that don't grow you, that don't inspire you to be better, to do more, to give more. That is everyone's purpose. We're here to contribute to the greater vibration of this world so we can make it a better place for everyone. And so as you guys start your week this week, as you start to plan for the new year, just be honest with yourself. Even if you have to let go of certain relationships and it's going to hurt you, it's okay. No one ever died of a broken heart, honey. Okay? That heart will heal, it will mend, and you will be better off for it. But by the same token, I encourage you to build upon those relationships that feed you, that nurture you, that push you, that inspire you to be a better version of yourself, that challenge you, to dig deep and reach your fullest potential. I encourage you to strengthen those bonds. I encourage you, if you haven't done so recently, pick up the phone and tell someone that you love them. Call them up and tell them, I love you. I appreciate you. I am grateful for the role that you play in my life. What can I do for you? You have done so much for me. What can I do for you? Right? A lot of times we don't take the time to do that. I'm guilty of that myself. And so as I am offering these words of advice to you, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to think about the people I need to call and just thank for being blessings in my life, for pushing me, further than I ever imagined sometimes. There are times when I doubt myself, just like anyone, because I'm human. And I have a really great core group of people who remind me constantly of my purpose, of who I am, of my gifts, and so, I have to make sure that I do the same. As I encourage you, I will be taking my own advice, and if you're looking to attend a vision board workshop, in the upcoming year. There are a number of workshops that are happening that I know of. Mine, for example, I have a workshop happening January 19th in Brooklyn that I still have tickets for, but I will caveat that by saying, once I have my end of year celebration next Sunday, I anticipate that I'm going to be sold out of the tickets. So, for those of you who want to attend my January 19th workshop, I would suggest that you do not wait for the last minute. I would suggest that if you want to attend, secure your ticket before Sunday, December 9th, because I will guarantee you after then, it is going to be sold out. We're already halfway sold. So I know that by next week, we're going to be completely sold out. The website to purchase your tickets is www.vision2019, Vision 2019, part the number 2.eventbrite.com. Now, if you can't attend my vision board workshop on January 19th, I know that my girl Cindy Bautista Thomas and her organization Velocity Visions is hosting a workshop sometime in December. Guys, I'm not sure of the date or the time or the location, but I know that it's in December. So if you want to attend Cindy's workshop, then connect with her on Instagram at Cindy Bautista Thomas, or you can follow her business page, Velocity Visions, and try to get the information that way. What I will do, though, is I'll look for the information and I will put it in the show notes. So go to the show details and you should be able to find that there and connect. But yeah, get yourself connected to someone who can help you get clear on your goals, on your purpose, on what it is you want to work on for the upcoming year, and then commit to doing the work. There's no secret formula to success. It really requires commitment, consistency, and hard work. So on that note, guys, I will sign off this week of the Empowerment Hour podcast. As always, thank you for being here. Make sure that you share with your friends, post about us, comment, leave us a review. And until next time, mi gente, go out there and crush those goals.